Greetings. I am Dr. Christine Wheatley, and I coordinate the Ghana segment of Climate Refugee Stories. I am a political sociologist, researcher, writer, and educator with expertise in migration and development. I serve as the Executive Director of New Age Environmental Development of Africa, also known as NED Africa, a Ghana-based social enterprise and charity organization dedicated to tropical forest restoration and the application of renewable energy technologies with the aim of building sustainable new economies and addressing climate change in cooperation with local communities. I also consult for the International Organization for Migration and serve as an adjunct professor at Galen University in Belize, where I develop and teach online courses in migration management. In this presentation, first, I provide background information on Ghana in order to contextualize the project. Second, I offer an overview of the Ghana project. Third, I share some of the preliminary findings and stories we have collected. Fourth, I conclude by sharing some of the work that my organization is doing to support climate refugees and to address climate change more broadly. Now I will share some background on Ghana. As you can see from this map, Ghana is located in West Africa, bordered by Togo, Burkina Faso, and Ivory Coast, and sits on the Atlantic Ocean, where its coast stretches over a 330-mile distance. 7% of Ghana's total land area lies along the coast and is home to over 5 million people whose main source of livelihood is fishing. A former British colony, which in 1957 became the first African country to win independence, Ghana has a total population of 31 million and is home to more than 70 ethnic groups who speak 49 different dialects. English is the official language. Ghana is classified as a middle-income country, yet the poverty rate is high and food insecurity, particularly in rural areas, is rampant. As a result, Ghana also has high rates of emigration by undocumented labor migrants seeking better employment opportunities elsewhere, making dangerous journeys through Libya and across the Mediterranean Sea to Europe, the US, and Canada. Now I will provide an overview of our project in Ghana. With our film, we are documenting stories of individuals and communities fighting erosion and flooding and experiencing displacement as a result of climate-related stressors, particularly rising sea levels, along Ghana's east and west coasts, including island communities on the Volta River, Ghana's main river system. Our participants also include deportees and other migrants who have returned to Ghana, mostly to the West Coast, after such displacement. The film also features NED Africa's work to establish new green industries in Ghana, which support internally displaced persons and return migrants and discourage undocumented emigration by providing sustainable livelihoods. We aim to use film and storytelling to raise awareness of the impacts of climate change on coastal communities and of ways to mitigate it and slow global warming. We also aim to highlight the dangers faced by climate refugees who feel forced, due to homelessness, hunger, and unemployment brought on by displacement, to immigrate to other countries without documentation, and the vulnerabilities they face upon return to Ghana, in order to educate other would-be migrants and discourage undocumented emigration. The photo shown here of a doorway looking out onto the sea is one I took from inside a house that had been partially buried in sand as a result of encroachment from the sea on Azizakpe Island, one of the locations we visited for this project. Now I will share some findings and stories from our project, starting with an overview. Overall, we found that over the last 30 years, many coastal and island communities have lost vast lands to the sea, which has broken down and washed away dozens of their homes. An even greater number of houses have been buried in the sand. As the sea moves closer ashore, it has rendered coastal homes inhabitable and forces residents to relocate inland, yet many do not have the resources to do so. Furthermore, return migrants face challenges with economic reincorporation as they struggle to find work and housing. This photo is of the same house depicted in the previous photo, taken from a few feet away, so you can see clearly that the house is buried in at least several feet of sand. Now I will share some findings and stories from Azizakpe Island. We collected our first set of stories on the island of Azizakpe, a 1.75-mile-long estuary island which is closest to the mouth of the estuary, where the Volta River and Gulf of Guinea meet in eastern Ghana. With a population of 400 residents, Azizakpe is one of more than 50 inhabited islands on the Volta River. This photo provides an aerial view of Azizakpe Island. The island is marked with a small white circle at the top. You can see that it is the island closest to the sea and thus most vulnerable to rising sea levels. Just west of the island is the town of Adafoa on the mainland. Like many of the islands on the Volta River, Azizakpe is experiencing dramatic flooding due to rising sea levels. The flooding has been worsened by the building of an artificial sand barrier for the construction of luxury vacation homes and resorts, for which sand around the island has been mined, collapsing the island's own natural sea defense. Residents report that Azizakpe was once a much larger island, but over time, an entire kilometer of the island was swallowed up by the sea, along with more than 60 homes and a church, and most islanders are now looking to relocate to the mainland, but do not have the resources to do so. While some of the displaced islanders have friends and family on the mainland with whom they can stay, many find themselves with nowhere to go and no means to pay for the high rents they face in places like Adafoa. This photo of a fishing boat on the shore of the island surrounded by coconut trees and calm water in the background captures the beauty and tranquility of the island that exist in spite of the current crisis. As one resident explained to us, people came in and mined the sand from part of our island's bed. It's the reason why the riverbed has collapsed so quickly. That sand forms the bed that the island is sitting on. They've used the sand to build that artificial barrier over there, where a hotel now sits. The photo on the left shows two men from the island on the shore facing the sea, one gesturing towards the sea, where the artificial barrier has been built with Azizakpe's sand. The photo on the right depicts a row of sandbags along the shores where sand had been mined to prevent further erosion. Across the water, you can see the artificial barrier. Azizakpe's subchief told us, "You can be cooking outside, but when the high tide comes, you must quickly gather your things, or you'll get carried away. And it comes so fast and so silently, it catches you." The photo on the left shows one of our team members, Azaria Logo, founder and CEO of NED Africa, interviewing the sub-chief in Ewe, one of several local dialects spoken on the island, as other residents sat and listened. The photo on the right shows the sub-chief recounting the challenges his community faces due to flooding. This photo shows part of Azizakpe's coastline, dotted by coconut trees and houses that were once much further inland, as well as numerous coconut trees that have fallen as the soil beneath them has been eroded by the sea. Most islanders live on fishing, shrimping, pig rearing, and oil processing from the island's abundant coconut trees. Residents reported that because of the soil's high salt content due to its proximity to the sea, it is impossible to farm or even maintain a garden on the island. The left photo depicts rows of stacked shrimping cages constructed out of bamboo. The right photo shows a litter of pigs in their wooden pen, which are reared and sold for their meat on the mainland. One woman resident told us, "I also have pigs. Right now I'm old, I'm so tired, I'm not able to care for them very well. Food to eat, I don't have it. I am basically starving as you look at me. Now we are buying the food, some of the food to supplement from shops and the island, and it's very expensive." The woman who shared this story is depicted in this photo. She is standing and speaking while a small group of residents sit in plastic chairs around her and listen under shade provided by thatch. These two photos depict typical scenes of a fishing village. The left photo shows a small fishing canoe. The right photo shows fishing nets and other fishing equipment. This photo depicts two men from Azizakpe in a motorized fishing boat, the one that carried me and my team to and from the island. Now I will discuss some of the projects that NED Africa is working on to support climate refugees and address climate change. The first project is coconut oil processing and biogas production on Azizakpe. Working with a group of women residents, we are in the process of establishing a women's cooperative to process and sell organic extra virgin coconut oil using a commercial processor that meets the standards for export. We'll also use coconut husks and pig manure to produce biogas for boat fuel and electricity. This photo depicts a pile of hundreds of coconut husks left behind by island residents who process the coconuts into oil by hand, which is painstakingly slow and of low quality. The second project is Carbon Negative Ghana. Carbon Negative Ghana represents NED Africa's comprehensive plan to turn all of Ghana's waste into green energy and Ghana into a carbon negative zero waste nation through a three-pronged approach: waste to energy municipal waste recycling, biogas, and reforestation and afforestation. We project that after the 5th year of operation, Carbon Negative Ghana will reduce or sequester more than 2 million tons of greenhouse gases. The waste-to-energy plant will turn landfill waste into a clean, emission-free synthetic gas that can be used for car and jet fuel, electricity, and heat. We'll set up biogas plants in hundreds of locations across the country, along with public toilets where sanitation is poor, and use the human waste as source material for the biogas production, along with agricultural and animal waste to be used for electricity and heat. The diagram here depicts the sustainable cycle of biogas from anaerobic digestion, a sequence of processes by which microorganisms break down biodegradable material in the absence of oxygen. Together, the waste-to-energy and biogas plants will generate millions of dollars of revenue annually. Using part of the proceeds from these companies, we'll establish new privately owned forest reserves in Ghana, planting 25 million trees in 5 years and sequestering tons of carbon from the atmosphere. With Carbon Negative Ghana, our goal is to create a model for becoming carbon negative, zero waste that other nations can follow, while providing thousands of safe, well-paying green jobs to climate refugees, return migrants, and other residents. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your interest in climate refugee stories. To learn more, please visit our websites at www.climaterefugeestories.com and www.nedafrica.com.